I got to ask you a question here because the Detroit Tigers, they sweep. They are now just 5 games under 500.
Don't open it like that. Don't tease the viewers like that.
What I want to ask you is this. At what point in time do you take their winning seriously at all?
2026?
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
No, the team, they're scrappy. They're fun to watch. I'm so excited about this team and its future. They're not going to make the playoffs.
No.
And hypothetically, they do. We're talking Skubal, Montero, and then a bullpen day in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. The hill is too high to climb. But we can at least see some of the fight in these young guys.
Yeah.
We're going to get to see 2 guys tonight. They're called up for the Yankee series. We're going to touch on here in a second. So I, as a baseball lover, enthusiast, I'm excited to watch this team for the next 2 months, but it really is all watching it to see, okay, who's going to be a part of the core next year? Who's going to be contributing at the major league level next year?
And I asked that question just to set up the follow-up as well. Do you get any vibes as it relates to, we see how the Lions did this thing, and we knew that there were a couple years there where there was some promise you could see, even in the year where they got 3 wins. And obviously the second year we know what they did. They showed a lot more promise, and they put it together in that second half. But they still missed out on the playoffs, but there was a lot to take away. Do you see this thing based on what we're going to talk about today, what you see these Tigers doing now with Kerry Carpenter back? Do you get some semblance that this thing is headed in that direction for these Tigers?
Yes, I do. It's a youth movement. And that's what we saw in Detroit. It's draft your guys, the ones you believe in and trust, and you go down with the ship if they don't pan out. It worked with the Lions. It's working with the Lions. Each one of their drafts with baseball, with Scott Harris and these Tigers, it takes longer. Like, it's just there's a minor league system. Max Clark is our top-rated prospect ahead of Jackson Jobe, and he's in high A. And I hear people talking about, are we going to see him next year? Next year? Like, no, it's in 2 years.
2 years.
Maybe.
So there's a window. Paint the picture, just so we have proper expectation, because we all want our teams to win. But there is a process, especially with most of these teams having relatively, well, at least the Pistons and Tigers, newer front offices, newer visions, newer directions, and trying to figure out what do you do with what's already here, while we're also trying to identify the players that actually fit our style.
Yes. And to just circle back to the playoffs this season question, the people thinking of that, let me remind you, they did just sweep the Mariners. What did it take to do it? We'll just talk about last night. A Javi Baez 2-run homer in the 8th inning, and Kenta Maeda dealing.
A lot of magic.
We're talking a 2-1 win, giving up 1 hit.
0 earned.
0 earned. The Tigers only had 3 hits, and the 1 was from Javi Baez against one of the best closers in baseball.
And it's been your pet peeve all season. You're like, okay, they won. But it took a miracle. Like, it was like there was one game they won. You like, they didn't even register an actual hit.
Right. I love baseball. I love watching that game, but I'm not watching that game as like, oh, man, if this team sneaks into the playoffs, like, oh, Javi Baez, like, should we keep him for – no. Yeah. I see Zach McKinstry not be able to put a bunt down. I see Akil Baddoo, although he won the game the walk-off 2 games ago, I see him 4 games ago almost end Parker Meadows' career in right field, running all the way to center field on a tailor-made – a fly ball from Parker Meadows. I don't want any of that. This team, it's not there yet. But what we get to see starting tonight is another part of that youth movement. They announced yesterday, third baseman / second baseman / first baseman, maybe DH. Third baseman, Jace Young, he gets a call up from AAA Toledo to the Bigs, as well as Trey Sweeney. One of the 2 pieces in that trade that about 98% of you ripped on when it happened. Flaherty for Trey Sweeney and Tyron, an F trade. But you're not being emotional, am I right?
Right.
This is what I'm looking for. I'm so pumped to see Trey Sweeney in the Bigs.
Yes.
Just to have – we don't know how competent he is going to be, but he's young, and we could see, okay, maybe he's part of the future.
Yeah.
Jace Young, we definitely think is part of the future. What I love about them doing this now, and I wasn't sure they were going to do it, they're letting him get his major league experience, get his feet wet at the end of this year. You know, we saw Colt Keith at the beginning of this year. He struggled. He went through he was fluctuating a little bit. He had to deal with some adjustments, deal with major league pitchers. Yes, he did. What I'm hoping is Jace Young gets that out of the way this year. There will be times when he struggles, but let's get that out of the way this year so we can hit 2025 running maybe a little farther ahead than even I think. Maybe we get some guys, some promise in the system, either up at the major league level or some guys moving up the ranks to then who knows where they're at the trade deadline. Maybe you're more of a buyer at the trade. Who knows? That's a long way away.
Yeah.
But this minor league system, and I'm coming to you next, KG, this minor league system, especially after the re-ranking that MLB Pipeline did, the Tigers minor league system, we got a bright future, boys and girls.
Yeah, and that's why I wasn't mad at the trade deadline. You strengthened something that needed to be strengthened in your farm system, and I think it's some value in them continuing to fight. I didn't want to see this team just roll over, after the trade deadline and after their season is pretty much done, but I want them to continue winning and showing us that some of these pieces can be core pieces going forward. But I wanted to ask you, who do you think are some casualties because of this move with Trey Sweeney? I mean, you can expect maybe Zach McKinstry, but is there anybody else you expect?
Yeah, since I'm credentialed in covering the team, I'm going to let Kool-Aid maybe speculate on McKinstry or Badu or Javi Baez. Maybe one of those guys or two of them.
They not.
What do you guys think about those three as possible DFA candidates?
I mean, even though they called up Trey Sweeney right after Javi's miraculous comeback, I don't think they're DFAing Javi. I would say Zach McKinstry. I don't know. Would they get rid of Gio? I mean,
I don't think they DFA him.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think he can play multiple infield positions. I think he's worth just keeping till the end of the year. He's on a one-year contract.
And, I mean, he's kind of lived up to his contract. You got what you expected out of him. Not that he's done anything extraordinary or things of that nature, but, I would expect Zach McKinstry and maybe someone else. Maybe a second baseman, but a lot going on right now.
Flannel's face, dog. Flannel got me cracking up.
Oh, man, y'all got to be here, man. You got to be here. Show up to the links
awesome,
out
dog.
here in Novi, man. We're having the time of a lifetime.
Yes. Max Clark last night. Max Clark hit his first home run at high A last night. He's raking.
Yeah.
Dan Hasty put out this tweet about Max Clark I thought was super interesting. He goes, Midwest League hitter, so high A, where Max Clark is playing. When hitters are down 0-2 in the count, the average hitter's OPS is 371. Clark's OPS this season's nearly twice that, .736 in an 0-2 count. That's a young hitter who has a good feel for the strike zone and knows how to put the ball in play and isn't afraid of getting deep in a count.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to get a hit earlier in the count, but you get down 0-2, that's when the best hitters, they choke up and they put the ball in play. That's what Max Clark is doing. Lorenzo, in his last 3 games, he's been on base 11 out of 14 at-bats.
Yeah.
He was not 4 for 4 last night, 3 walks, and I believe a single last night. Dude's absolutely raking, and Trey Sweeney since coming over in that Flaherty trade that everyone gave an F, and everyone said I was crazy for thinking it was good, and I'm emotional, and you trust Ben Verlander and the other experts out there. Trey Sweeney is doing great, too, so, hey, we get to see him.
Pretty good right now. And you know what? That's why I take the time to make sure people understand this is our credentialed Tigers writer and reporter. Sometimes people say, well, why are you stressing this? Why are you saying this? Because I think it's important to understand where your information is coming from. Why spend the time somewhere? I don't have any problem with emotional. I don't have any problem. Look, there's different strokes for different folks, right? Hey, we're out here on the golf course. So, but if I want to know from exactly what the deal is, I would trust somebody who played baseball at the University of Michigan. I would trust somebody who played pro. I would trust somebody who's credentialed by the team, showing that they do accept that you have a certain aspect or understanding of this game to be able to present it in a professional manner.
Yeah.
So it's like, I come away learning and understanding a lot more just as a chat. Just a fan says, Broder keeps repeating what he said before the season. Wow, someone who was so consistent. And that's what it was. You told us before the season, and you continued each step of the way. On the highs, on the lows. You would show your emotions. You'd be excited for the highs. You would be upset with the lows, but you told us, guys, it's a roller coaster of a season. They're going to be somewhere around 500. They're going to miss the playoffs. But they're going to be a team in which you're going to get some answers and you can see the direction. And that's what this has been. And honestly, it's made it a lot more exciting for me than to just kind of ride the roller coaster of the Tigers' ups and downs.
Awesome. A lot of the other shows, both at our network and, around town, I've been hearing a lot of, and it's actually been really fun, like what ifs. What could this Tiger season have been if Torkelson worked out, or if Mize and Olsen didn't get hurt, Carpenter didn't get hurt. that's the tough part about baseball. But there have been great things. We've seen Parker Meadows, I think, now has star potential, at least an impact player for a winning team. I'm just really excited to see this team over the next couple years.
Hey, and I see Rake is in the chat. Brother, are you coming out to the event today? It'd be good to see you if so, man.
He says, is Sweeney an elite bunter? I bet you he can bunt better than Zach McKinstry. I bet you. But he's going to get his debut tonight, Trey Sweeney, drafted by the New York Yankees. We'll wrap up Tigers talk here right now because we got some Lions, some NFL, a Pistons segment. We got to talk about their schedule getting released.
Yeah.
But Trey Sweeney makes his debut tonight against the Yankees, who drafted him in the first round in 2021. He's a left-handed hitter, drafted 20th overall. From what I've learned, the Yankees kind of jacked up his swing. They wanted him to change it up a lot. He got out of whack. Went to the Dodgers, started to recalibrate a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's 24, which isn't young, but it's not old. Riley Green's 23.
Yeah. He
He's
was
still got some
310 in the minors, too.
100%. Still got some potential. And just to see some hope at the shortstop position. Yeah. I'm excited for that. And then on Sunday, last comment, then I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah.
Sunday, so the Yankees come to town for a 3-game series, 2 games in Detroit at Comerica Park, but the third game, they head down to Williamsport for the Little League Classic.
Hey.
Tarek Skubal's on the mound, too. It might be Skubal versus Cole. I'm not 100% sure about the Yankees, but I think it'll be a really cool game. I hope they win these first 2 games of the series. If we can go a possible sweep of the Yankees with Skubal on the mound.
Yes, sir.
Like Yankees, you should have offered up some of your guys for Skubal at the deadline since Baltimore balked.
Man. But I'm glad that Skubal is a Detroit Tiger right now. I love it.
I love watching Skubal.
But Burn, $5 super chat. I don't know if this is one you can read. Ben Verlander is the most. Oh my gosh. You saw this one? Ben Verlander is the most. Hold on, let this go.
I think
our
they
chat
might
family is on one, bro.
They might be able to hear us if you can get it out.
All right, look. Ben Verlander is the most stolen valor person in Detroit sports. His brother hasn't played here in almost 10 years. Come on, man. Goodness.
I can appreciate, I don't want to rag on Ben Verlander for rooting for the Tigers, for wanting more and just expecting more. I get it.
He's not presenting himself as if his opinion somehow diminishes yours. He just gave an emotional response.
Oh, yeah.
And came back later and said, I probably gave an emotional response.
Yeah. So when I have my teammates just ripping on me and saying, the chat and Broder, you guys can go screw yourself. I'm going to go listen to the experts. Yeah, I take offense to that.
You should. You should.
Spicy.
We all want the Tigers to win, people. That's
Yeah.
why people are emotional. That's why people graded the trade an F. But you got to look at this for what it is, man. They are committed to the youth movement. We have to look ahead. I've been saying it all week.